I try to have the mindset when I get their documents that I'm the underwriter. So I try my best to look at everything in the whole situation and try to see through stuff like that. Of course, it's impossible to do it 100% of the time. And especially borrowers are not honest up front. Things are not going to pop up till it gets into underwriting, because I can only do so much on the front end. But at least, that does narrow that window down a little bit. And for my borrowers, they're not the slam dunk ones. Mine are in that middle. So I got to do a lot of homework in the beginning, or I will just have them all fall apart in the meantime. If I didn't, I wouldn't have as high of close ratio if I did not do the way I do in the beginning when I pre-approve for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything, Daphne?
So I went to my first networking thing yesterday.
Okay.
And now that I have these business cards, what do you suggest that I do?
Are you asking Patti? Patti, go ahead.
Oh, are you asking me? Sorry. You have the business cards?
For Patti.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you went to you've got the business cards and you went to the networking groups, just start handing them out to everybody you talk to. Just hand them out to everybody. Keep going to those meetings and keep handing your cards out. And, my husband is a talker. He'll go to the grocery store, be standing in line with somebody, and he will just talk. And then he'll hand him a card. Hey, if you ever need, blah, blah, blah. And he just gives his card out to people in the grocery store. So he hands them out to everybody. So just get in habit if you're just wherever you go. I mean, even me, if I'm out shopping or whatever, and I get to talking to somebody, and they'll say, well, what do you do? Or blah, blah, blah. And they'll ask me for a card, and I feel really bad when I don't have one on me. So try your best to keep them on you. And it don't matter where you are, what you do. You always talk about what you do and have a card handy and just hand it out.
Yeah. And one little bit of a strategy is, first you try and strike up some sort of conversation. You try and notice something about them or something, and search for commonality, and then ask them for their card first. And well, number one, you can see their reaction. And number two is a lot of times they'll then ask for yours. And if they don't immediately, then you're certainly justified in handing them one. So that kind of makes it a little bit easier than just pushing your information on them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not salesy at all. So it has to come about the right way for me, because I'm not a pushy and I'm not a salesy. I'm not one that do all that initiation first. I just kind of feel how the conversation goes.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's funny because I say I'm not a salesperson, but I really am. But I don't like to think of myself as, but I'm not one that is just overly, hey, I do this and you should send me blah, 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 blah. I don't do it quite like that.
Right. So Patti sells with kindness and empathy, and it's so powerful. And I didn't even realize that till I met Patti, how powerful that is. But yeah. So any other questions for Patti? So Patti, you are welcome to stay on the call, or if you've got stuff to do, you can scoot out whenever you want to, but we love having you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Y'all contact me anytime. I try to be available for you. If you need anything, just call me, email me, text me, whatever. I'm here to help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. It was nice to meet you, Jenny.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, I'll hit y'all later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
So let's talk about prospecting, which is so important. And right now should be your day should be about 90% prospecting and maybe 10% learning. So I'm looking over at this chart that Joyce did for me on your social media. So I always suggest going with maybe 2 platforms because it can just get over. There's about 9 major social media platforms, but if you concentrate on 2, most people can cover that pretty well. So it looks like Lauren, you are more on Facebook and Instagram, Nitty, Facebook and LinkedIn, and Jenny, Facebook and Instagram. And Daphne, you're kind of spread out between Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And I'm mostly on LinkedIn and Facebook. But anyway, I'm looking at these connections, and you need more. All of you need more. I mean, Nitty's got 938 connections between the 3 platforms, and you need to look at building that 100 a month. And it's super simple to add people to your network on social media. I mean, most people are not going to turn down an invitation. Also, I didn't mean just to call Nitty out, but I was just looking at that, at these numbers over here. But all of us need to constantly be looking to add people. Basically, any legitimate business person, I'm going to add them to the network. Just more exposure you get when you do a post. Now, so besides increasing your group on social media, we also have to be cognizant of making comments and trying to make meaningful comments on the people that we're trying to prospect. So it's very difficult to call a real estate agent and set up a meeting cold because they're busy, and it's just kind of awkward to call somebody that you don't know and say, do you want to spend time with me? So what softens that up and makes it more of a warm call is if you've kind of stalked them on social media and made comments about, people post everything from their, their pets and their family to their business, and you make a meaningful comment. So a comment that's more than, let's say, 4 words. And people will see they'll think of you in a positive light. Oh, your puppy is so cute. I have a dachshund or something. And then, they'll see that and it'll make them smile, and then they'll associate you with something positive. And then when you call them, they'll say, Lauren Akins, you sound familiar. I don't know why, but yeah, let's get together for coffee. And it's just in the back of their mind, and it makes it easier. So that's one way to make it easier. So with all of those agents on your list, you should be posting comments to their posts just about every day. And also posting yourself a new post just about every day. You can either do video is the most powerful. If you're not comfortable with video, I have some help for you. If you can't think of anything to post, then I have those books. I think I gave most of you those orange books that have like 50 different suggestions. Just flip through and it'll give you a suggestion. And you'll want to post 80% about non-business, and then maybe once every 4. So it's a jab, jab, hook philosophy. And you give useful, helpful information. And then 3rd or 4th time, it's like, soft sell. So if you're thinking about buying a house, please think of me. And that's the way you can get. If you're too salesy each time, look, this is what we offer, this is what we offer, this is what we, then they're just gonna, you're just like a commercial that's running nonstop on television. You're just gonna change the channel. So all right, so let's talk about this realtor event. This realtor event is very, very important to me. And the reason is that I have people from corporate coming down here to speak, and I will be embarrassed if we don't have a good turnout. I'm going to try desperately, but I sent you guys all you have videos, you have the photos, the flyer, and you have the link, which you need to put on all of your posts. so that they can register, and then try and get agents to register for the event. I would say about half of the agents that register will actually show up. I want each of you to have 5 people there. So you need to get about 10 agents to register. Um, there will be some, some continental breakfast, and we're going to have a drawing for some gifts. I didn't put all that on the flyer because I thought it was kind of too gimmicky or whatever. But if you are talking to them, you can mention those things. And any ideas to promote this, I am open. I am not an event aficionado. I do about 1 or 2 a year. So, I'm certainly open to any ideas. So let's talk for a minute about prospecting. And I want each of you to tell me some sort of story. It can be a success or a failure. So Daphne, so you went to this event, and what was it like? Did you feel like a fish out of water or what?
I mean, I felt like a fish out of water because it was my first event, but I mean, I just walked around and looked for people that were not talking to people, and I would introduce myself. There
Were they
was,
responsive? Were they nice?
yeah, no, they were definitely nice. I met a couple people that are very, very new to the industry. There were a few lenders there. There were a few insurance people that I talked to. I mean, there was a lot of people. Um, and it seemed like I got a couple of like good connections. So I already went and reached out, asked for them to connect on LinkedIn. So, and I talked about our event that we're having at the end of the month, and they seemed interested for it. So I'm going to shoot them a message with that information as well. Um, but yeah, no, it was a good experience. It was out of my comfort zone, but it was good.
Well, I mean, to be perfectly honest, even when I go to those events, I feel a little bit out of my comfort zone. I mean, I'm very confident in what I do and what I can talk about, but I'm not like the social butterfly type. So I am a little bit out of my comfort zone. And so that's totally understandable. It gets a little better and a little easier. Sometimes it's easier to go with somebody as well, where you can both kind of work the room or whatever. At least you have somebody to lean on, so to speak. But that's terrific. I'm really glad that you went, and I hope that you go to more events. Nitty, tell me about some prospecting you've done, good or bad. Tell me about it.
I would say it was a mix. I still don't know because I called like 5 new realtors who have been in business for last 2 years.
Okay.
Still new. They still don't have that much of clientele. So I introduced myself to them and I said, I would like to understand your business and what are your pain points. Maybe we can talk over the phone right now or whenever you are free. So this was my pitch to all of them. And they were like, we'll connect with you. Maybe we can go out for lunch. I was like, sure, we can go out for lunch whenever you have the availability. They said they'll connect with me. So I just messaged everyone today. It's Friday. I hope the work is keeping you busy and all. Let me know when we can meet next week. I haven't heard back from them. So let's see.
Okay. So that's good. So that, it's tough to call them cold, even when they're new. So that is definitely a tougher mountain to climb. So therefore, you want to try and like maybe get your list ready for next week, and then try and interact with their social media ahead of time. So at least the name's familiar.
Right.
At least they're, like, oh yeah, you're the one that plays tennis or something. I don't know. At least there's some familiarity when you make that call.
Sure.
But good. No, I appreciate your effort. And the other thing, remember, if they're brand new, they know nothing about loans. You can take the position of being a mortgage trainer. And I know that sounds ridiculous because you're so new to the business, but they know nothing. I mean, you've been through a pretty good bit of training at this point. They have no idea like what kind of down payment or credit or anything. So a lot of agents that are new will welcome that knowledge And, so you can offer to teach them a little bit about mortgage basics, and they may be responsive to that. You're always looking to give something of value. Anyway, Lauren, tell us about some kind of prospecting.
Okay, so something that I have recently started trying to do is share their listings. So when people who I follow on Instagram or Facebook post that they have a house for sale and, this is the listing, whatever, I will share it to my Instagram stories and be like, hey, just listed, contact so-and-so, and then tag them in the bottom of it. And that actually got me in the door with a realtor who I sent our flyer to and told them about our meeting, and he seemed really interested. And so I'm hoping that by showing him that I'm taking an interest in what he's posting about and trying to spread his information out there for other people to see, that, maybe it'll come back to me.
No, that's exactly right. And you shouldn't worry so much about how effective your efforts are. I mean, that agent could, in the back of his mind, be thinking, or in the front of his mind thinking, I already have 5 offers on that house. That's a waste of time, Lauren.
Right.
But what he's thinking as well is, hey, this Lauren's a nice person and she's trying to help me.
Right.
So even if you offer them things, or you offer them maybe to train them on mortgage basics, and they're like, oh, I already went through the Keller Williams course and learned everything. It doesn't really matter. They still think that you're nice and you're helping. So I think that's great. So Jenny, I know you haven't started yet, but do you have any ideas of maybe something you're thinking about doing?
Well, I've been reaching out to old contacts that I haven't talked to in like a year or so, and just shot them that text like, hey, how are you? It's been a while. Hope everything's going well. And it went really well. So one person texts back that they're looking to build a house at the first of the year, and they're buying property now and paying cash for it. And she was like, what are you up to? So I told her like, hey, I'm doing loans now and working with this company. And she's like, oh, great. I just got my license too. So I told her about the realtor event. So it ended up working really well with her.
That's awesome. So, and yeah, I just got this email from my nephew who went and did that exercise. So I gave each of you an assignment this week, and that was to go into 6-minute networking and do the first one. So did anybody do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So tell me how it went. Daphne.
So I reached out to a couple of like old contacts of mine that I haven't spoke to in quite some time.
This was the one with the text, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So how did it go?
It went well. I mean, unfortunately one of them just bought a house, but
Okay.
but he's my old boss from my old job, and he's very good at networking. So he knows tons and tons and tons of people, and he's like, we're going to meet for lunch in November, and I know he'll be able to help me get more contacts and stuff like that. And then another person that I reached out to, she used to be a real estate agent a long time ago. She's not really a practicing one right now, but we had a lunch date for next week, but I was hoping that maybe she could give me like some tips on like how to like be at the top of mind of other people, like other real estate agents. So I would say all in all went really well.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I don't think anybody's ever gonna have a bad experience trying to contact an old friend. So Nitty, did you do it?
Yes, I did. I texted few of my old customers who were looking for a house, and they
Or
just
no,
yes,
but you're supposed to text people at the bottom of your text that are just
yes. So
old
it's
friends that you haven't
direct
talked
mail,
to.
right? So I checked with them how they are doing and what are they up to. So they talked to me nicely. They said if we'll take a loan, if we ever buy a house, which we are not looking for right now because market is still crazy, we would definitely get in touch with you. I was like, no, it was just a generic check and on how things are going with you and all. So I didn't talk anything about the loan. I let them did the talking about the loan and everything. Yes.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, it just moves you closer to the front of their mind, where maybe if you haven't talked in 6 months or a year, they completely forgot about you.
Right.
What about you, Lauren?
I mean, I think it went well. I got responses from like 9 out of 10 people just, engaging in conversation. So at least I didn't get ignored.
Right.
It worked out really well for the bottom of I didn't even think to just scroll to the bottom until watching that video, but one of them had just had a baby. So that was a really great way to check out. And I knew that from social media, but this at least put me, in some more personal conversation with her. And yeah, so no, we didn't say anything about loans right now. We're just kind of, obviously
No,
restarting those
absolutely, yeah.
conversations, but
Yeah. So, I think you've probably figured this out, but prospecting is a lot like running for public office. So it's like you're running to be the mayor of Roswell, right? What would you do if you wanted to run? Well, people would first have to know who you are, right? So you would have to find different ways to get as much exposure as possible. So you would go to events so people could see you. You would try and position yourself as being a nice and smart person, and you would just try and connect with as many people as possible. Well, that's kind of the way that we get our business. So, if you were just out there and just kept asking people to vote for you, it would probably be a turnoff. So, but if you engage in some kind of conversation about the best barbecue restaurant, or pizza place, then people are very responsive to that. So, there's a million stories I saw this one about this real estate agent who would do these open houses, and he would advertise them and get very little response. And then he started doing this like bourbon tasting at the open house where he would introduce a new brand of bourbon and talk about it and videotape it. And he said that he got a crazy response from people, and they would constantly be asking about the bourbon, and then invariably some of them would turn into real estate customers because they would just like him, because they had a similar interest. Anyway, okay, so I made a small mistake when I was bugging you guys about putting the referral source in Encompass. So I have more access than you do. So I think after the loan is dispositioned, meaning it's either withdrawn or it's closed or whatever, then I don't think it sticks for you guys, but it does on my login. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another look, and I'm going to send you an Excel sheet, and you can just type them on the Excel sheet and then I'll fill them in for you. It's very important because I want to see how, how the leads are coming and what source and how I can help you better and where we can spend some money. So Nidhi, you talked to me before about you were going to do some sort of internet marketing with, was it the Loan Officer Network?
Yes.
How
Yes.
have you started? How's that going?
I have started, but I haven't been able to talk to TJ. So next week we have a call, and then he'll go one-on-one. He'll set up everything for me. He'll guide me through the whole process for next 2 months. And then he's saying you'll start seeing the results.
Okay, so it hasn't really kicked off yet.
Yes.
And you work in the Zillow leads. Are they any good or what?
Not really. I was about to email you that maybe you can stop, or maybe we can still see for 1 more month, because all the leads that I get, 50% of them, they have the wrong number. I would just email them that, listen, I got information from Zillow. I am a partner with Zillow. So I'll help you. I'll guide you through the whole home.
But it was a completely wrong number?
Yes, it's a completely. It would say this number is not valid.
Huh. Can you email our rep?
I did. In past, I did. But I never received a reply whether they have taken off the charge or not.
Or send us more leads.
Yeah.
So do take a minute to email him. Sure. And let him know which ones are completely phony.
True.
I am starting next week a pay-per-click campaign. I have Justin Mead, the head of the technology department. I did pay-per-click like 10 or 12 years ago, and then it just kind of fizzled out. This is where people search keywords like Atlanta mortgage or something like that, and then we come up as a sponsored thing. So he is sending me all of the ads, and I'm hoping to kick that off next week. And I'll probably replace the Zillow with that. And if it works, I mean, I'll scale it up, and I'll distribute the leads to you guys. I have to figure out the automation behind that. But once I do, hopefully you'll get them live or pretty close to live. So the thing with these leads is you got to call them right away. Okay. Anything else that you guys want to talk about before we have our 10 quiz game for all kinds of no prizes? No, seriously, is there anything else you want to talk about or ask about, or any issues that you're having?
I wanted to talk to you about those, the veteran loan stuff, but I don't know if you want to talk about that here, or if that's something we want to do.
Sure.
Okay, because I have a client who's interested in the interest rate reduction loan for VA.
Great.
And I mean, I understand the premise of the program, but I just don't know how do I search for their interest rates?
I'll help you with that.
Okay.
It's the same pricing engine, and there's a drop down for VA interest rate reduction.
Okay, got it.
But there's guidelines you need to know, because there's certain things we can charge and certain things we can't charge, and certain things that can be financed in, and there's a limit to what you can make the loan amount. It's not loosey-goosey like conventional where you can add whatever you want.
Right.
Because the loan is non-qualifying. That's the best thing. So when you pull a credit report, it's a special credit report that just has mortgage only with credit scores. So we do check their credit scores, but it's generous as long as they're not just totally trash as far as their credit goes. It's a great loan. They really can't lose.
Okay.
So on a VA refi, where they're not pulling cash out, the funding fee is 0.5%.
Okay.
So it's much, much lower.
And then I think he had mentioned that he just got, I guess, certification or however they do it, that he's a disabled veteran, so they don't charge lending fees.
Okay, yeah, that's
awesome.
Fee. I mean, it's not awesome that he's disabled.
He's fine. It was a knee problem. He's okay.
Okay, but yes, disabled veterans are exempt from the funding fee. Now, you have to pull the certificate of eligibility, which Jessica can go on the website and do. And for 99% of veterans, unless they have some screwy in their past, it pops right up on the website. We get it immediately, and it will say on there whether they're eligible, whether they're disabled. It'll say all that. Okay. The other thing that disabled veterans may not know, and you'll know this when you get his mortgage statement, is in most counties, they get either exemption from property tax or a greatly reduced property tax. And I've worked with a lot of veterans that just never asked, and then boom, you're saving them like $3,000 a year they never even thought about.
Well, and that would be great, because the property taxes out here, our property values are skyrocketing, and our property taxes have more than, I think when we moved out here, I was originally paying $900 a year, and now we're at $3,600. So it's been quite the increase.
You don't want to have that conversation with me.
Oh, I know. I grew up in this city. I know it's way more with where you are.
In North Fulton County, how are your taxes, Nita?
They are high, very high.
Exactly. So, okay. But no, that's a great loan. I'm happy to help. Just so take the loan app, and the loan app is super easy. He doesn't need to fill in any job information. I I would have him just put his checking account, just because if he needs a few $100s at closing, we're gonna have to verify that.
Okay.
But it's a super easy. And if he over fills out the loan application, then Jessica will just delete what we don't need.
Right. Okay.
So it's a pretty easy process.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Anything else?
So I do have a question about the client. She wanted to call today and discuss kind of a timeline for a construction loan. Like I said, they're going to pay cash for the property this year, and then they want to start building the first of next year. So she had a question about when does she apply for the construction loan, and I honestly don't know.
So we don't do construction loans.
Okay.
So so there's a couple of different things. If she's talking about, I mean, typically 90% of the time the builder gets the construction loan.
Okay.
But is she gonna be like an owner builder? Is she building herself?
No, she's going to hire a builder to build a home for her and her mother.
Okay, so there's a good chance the builder is going to get his own construction loan. If they're looking for what's called a construction to perm, which is a single close where it's a combination construction to permanent, we can broker those out. That is a difficult loan. I would highly suggest that not be your first loan with the company.
Okay.
The good news is that there is an exception to a regular Fannie Mae loan where normally you have to wait 6 months to do a cash out refi. But there is something that if you were to pay cash for the house, you can do a refi immediately afterwards. So in our market, the market is so crazy, borrowers will like borrow from their retirement, pay cash for a house to get their offer accepted, and then come to us right afterwards and say, okay, now I need to get my money back. And we can do a cash out refi right away. It's called a delayed cash out refi.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, so do you see this little button that has like a smiley face with a hand?
Yes.
Okay, so hit the little hand. Okay, there you go. So Lauren did it. Okay, everybody's doing it except Daphne.
Oh,
So,
I'm on my phone, so I got it. Okay.
oh, how come it didn't turn yellow? Okay, now I don't know how to undo it.
I think we have to unclick it.
Oh,
Yeah,
unclick,
we have to click it.
unclick it. Okay, you ready? Okay, so here are the 10 questions. You ready? Just hit your little hand if you know the answer. So what is my philosophy when it comes to posting on social media? Okay, Nitty.
Jab, 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 hook.
That's right. So Nitty gets 1. Okay. Tell me, can you name, okay, let me rephrase this so you don't jump in. Other than a lower rate with a lower payment, can you give me 4 other reasons why a person would want to refinance? Okay, Nitty. Go ahead.
Cash out refinance.
Okay.
You said lower rate, lower payment, already taken care.
All right, somebody help her. And
Drop PMI.
excellent.
Yes, 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 yes.
Come on.
If they're like going through a divorce or something like that.
Divorce situation. All right. What else?
Want to buy a second home?
Okay, that's kind of cash out, but okay. To shorten the term. So I have a lot of people that have a 30-year that's at 4%, and they go to a 15-year at 2.25. Their payments hardly any different. So that's another reason to do it. Okay, so yeah, so it's not always about a lower rate. So I just took a refi. I'm going to have to make a post out of this. I took a refi. This guy was loaded. He had about 8 loans. just credit cards and various consumer loans, signature loans, and each one had like a $300 to $400 payment. Okay, I'm doing a cash out refi. This guy's monthly cash flow is improving $1,700 a month. Okay, for a guy that makes $6,500 a month, that is like life changing. Okay, so and his rate is actually 1/8% higher than what he has now. But who cares? He's saving $1,700 a month. His whole life's going to change when he doesn't have to pay all these different lenders. Okay. What is Steven's favorite type of loan? Daphne.
VA loan.
That is correct. I love VA loans. I love helping veterans, and they're easy loans to do. They're very forgiving. So there you go. Okay. What is the monthly MI on a VA loan? Bueller? Jenny?
They don't have one, do they?
They don't have monthly MI. They have the upfront
Funding.
guarantee fee, which
Right.
can be financed in, but no monthly MI. Okay. We're trying to get an appraisal waiver. What is the highest LTV on a cash out refi that you can get an appraisal waiver? Okay, Daphne?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you hit
90
the button.
No. I'm just gonna guess. 97%. I have no idea.
Okay, so normally on a refi, it's 90% is the highest you can go to get an appraisal waiver, but a cash out refi is 70%. Believe me, appraisal waivers are like gifts from God.
They sure are.
Okay. So if your purchase loan, you can tell some of these might be trick questions. If your purchase loan was clear to close Thursday at 9 a.m., yesterday at 9 a.m., could you close this Monday at 4 p.m.?
No.
Lauren, why
No.
not?
Because it's not 3 days, 3 business days.
No. Because it's Columbus Day holiday.
It's
Oh.
Columbus Day Monday.
Lord.
And just to answer you, Lauren, you don't have to wait 3 days on a clear to close. What you're talking about is 3 days from the CD.
Right, okay.
Okay. Whose responsibility is it to make sure that the lock does not expire? Lauren.
Our responsibility?
Yes, the loan officer. I saw you, Nitty, but I knew that you knew it. Okay. Whose responsibility is it to make sure the borrower signs the CD 3 days before closing? Nitty.
Loan officer.
Okay. So it's everybody's responsibility. This is so important, and there's no exceptions, literally no exceptions. And we've heard it all. The people are leaving the country. The wife is having a baby. She's in the hospital. The guy is deployed to go overseas. If they don't sign that CD 3 days before closing, that loan is not sellable. And so basically, we're not doing that loan. So once that CD goes out, everybody needs to bug the hell out of them. I just had a borrower, it was a refi, so it's not that big a deal, but the borrower just signed at 11:58 p.m. It is timestamped. If it were to say 12 p.m. You know, I don't know about 12 p.m. 12 a.m. But at 12:01 a.m., they're not closing. I had a truck driver once had to pull over to a hotel to sign a CD. Okay. And it was after midnight here, but he's like, I was in New Mexico. I had to get like some certified document saying that he was in the mountain time zone. Okay. They're that serious about it.
Ooh, those
Okay.
guidelines, they don't play.
Okay. Can you name 3 corporate employees by name? Jenny.
Mackenzie, Shelby, and Margarita or Marguerite.
That's correct. So tell us who those people are.
Shelby's licensing, Mackenzie is onboarding, and Marguerite, I want to say, is the head of HR.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
Right.
That's exactly right. So it helps we talk about networking, but networking within the company is important too. You'll find that, people are people and you make connections with people. And I'm not saying that you're going to make a friend in closing and then they're always going to do your closing packages at the last minute, but it doesn't hurt to have a friend in closing. You know what I'm talking about. Okay. The best time to buy a house was 5 years ago. What's the second best time to buy a house?
Right now.
That's right. Who said that?
Yeah, right now. Yeah.
Yes. That's
Sorry.
it.
My hand.
It was a tie. All right, guys. Well, I hope you got something out of this. We're going to try and do this weekly, and I promise I'll make them shorter, and I'm going to bring in another guest. There are some loan officers who are brand new to the business at Van Dyke who have done really well this past year, and I'm as curious as you are to find out what their secret sauce was. And, we can learn from everybody, and let's all help each other out. Okay? Anybody have anything else? Oh, we're gonna have theme music next time. I promise.
I cannot wait.
All right. See you later.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you so
Bye.
much. Thank you. Bye, everyone.